Hi, happy day. Thank you for visiting my channel. If you are new here, my name is Miriam. I am a lot of things. People like to call me a bunch of different stuff. All the clairs, all the psychics, all the oracles and prophets and earth angels and blah 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 blah. I don't really care. My name's Miriam, and for some reason, whenever I talk, you gonna hear something that makes sense for you. So enjoy that while I brush my hair before I take my morning shower. As if I don't shower every morning, but in this morning I will be. Um, it'll help me wake up a little bit more. This will help me wake up too. Okay, it's about a minute in. All right, that's plenty of time of me just rambling for no reason. I'm long-winded. It is what it is. There's a windfall for you. There's a windfall for you. This is, and if this isn't making any sense to you, just that's fine. It's like not supposed to make sense to everybody, but anyway, there's a windfall coming to you because you have been providing windfalls to other people, like through opening their spiritual journey or something. What? Opening their spiritual journey? Essentially, there's that thing like where the universe has been keeping track of who's been doing the job that they've been hired for. Everybody's been hired for specific jobs in the universe. And everybody has the option to take it up on that day or on another day or never take it up at all because you have free will. Um, and so it seems that you have been doing a lot of the work. And there's even like sometimes like as a kid, you were already working as a child. Um, Doing this work, like whether it be for your parents or for like your siblings or something, but you were like regulating people's emotions. You were not sharing your pain with people, to not spread pain. Um, if that makes sense. Almost like how. Ooh, yes, I was in an empathy workshop last night with a good friend of mine, Kat Schwartz, and colleague, and it was it was about a few things, but also about like the exhaustion that comes from helping people through stuff. That's something that really resonated with me because a lot of times I do go into hermit modes. Because I mean that's kind of like a bit of my archetype is I'll go out and be out and about for a while, and then I'll go and be in and about for a while. 343 as I say that. Um, and a lot of that comes from when the times I'm not taking the time to then clear my energy. Some part of it is a normal hermit mode. Some part of it is like, hey, like you literally can't do it because you haven't been doing the work to to be out there. So I tell people all the time, I'm conserving my energy. I'll be there if I'm available. And if I'm not feeling well, I'm just like, no, I won't be there. I'm just not gonna be there. Or if I have a weird attitude, I'm like, no, my mood is off today, and I'm not about to bring that around you, um, because I know how it feels to have people around you that don't feel great, and it's fine. You're allowed to not feel great, around whoever. That's you're allowed to be not okay around people. Like it's kind of the place that you're supposed to not be not okay around people. Sometimes it's just share your experience with them. Um, Yeah, it's an escape. Whenever you're sharing your experiences, it's an escape for other people. Whenever I, when growing up, I dealt with a lot of stuff, like a lot of trauma, a lot of the fun things that nobody should be a part of, but it's fun for the predator type of thing. Um, and whenever I got older, I read this book called When Rabbit Howls by Trudy Chase, or The Troop of Trudy Chase. And it was almost like it was it's a very detailed story, so trigger warning if you want to read that book, or if you're curious about that book, trigger warning. But in reading that book, me and my mom ended up reading it because my mom's also been through it. We both kind of came to the conclusion that one, it was nice to see that we hadn't been fragmented or confused. Like we were still had some things, like the things that we are blessed with still, and not necessarily everybody gets to be blessed with, which is still having some sense of self. And sometimes our traumas can be so much, especially in her case, it was so much trauma, a crazy amount of trauma. And sometimes, like the psyche, the consciousness needs to break off and fragment into many different things in order to process that and digest that. And so we were thankful that in this moment we are still able to process without fragmented things. Also, that we hadn't gone through the things that she had gone through. The things that she wrote about in that book were terrible things. We had reprieve, we had things that we could be blessed about, even in the terrible times. The terrible times shouldn't have happened. Um, and like, there's a pretty toxic phrase, it could have been worse. And a lot of the reason why that term is so popular is that it is a way to bandage ourselves and make ourselves feel better. And sometimes, like you're using too many band-aids, that you're covered in band-aids right now. You could you need some other help. But sometimes we do just need a band-aid to get to the next step. So eventually you're going to have to stop saying it could have been worse. But sometimes seeing that it could have been worse helps you get out of this belief that you have had such a terrible life, or such a terrible roll of the dice, that 828 as I say this, that you pulled the wrong cards, that you just got dealt a shitty hand, but you didn't. You got dealt this hand so then you can do something with it. And okay, so I play this game called Magic the Gathering, and there are different color magics, depending on an element. So, like water, earth, fire, death. And and when you play if you were to play just a specific color, just red or just blue or just green or just black or just white, white is more of like a healing deck. Black is more of like a vampire, slowly draining your life away deck. Because it's a fighting game, like it's a card game, kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon. Um, for people who don't know, but each one has a different vibe. Fire, or the red would be fire, and it's a bit more about instant explosion. Get your stuff off, get away. I don't want you. Green is about building up creatures. So if you have a creature on the field, then you also have cards in your hand that can grow that creature. So whenever it's attacking, it goes from only doing a little bit of damage to doing a bunch of damage, or being able to block a lot of damage. With blue, it's water. So there's flying, and there's like getting your, and like, no. Actually, go ahead and think about that again. Go ahead and put that back in your hand. I don't want that. Or they'll get rid of your cards, where you don't have those cards anymore. You don't have water. You literally don't have energy anymore, type of stuff. And I think you're just trying to figure out at this point, or not even trying to figure out, you have started to figure out what your cards do, what the point of your specific deck that you have. And then you can also start mixing those colors. You can have a blue black deck, or a white black deck, or a whatever mix of green and red and whatever. And you can make those decks and then start then pairing those two like magics. Right now, it's just about figuring out that you're playing a game, and that there are rules to the game, and that with each move there's kind of there are there are things that you can do, and it happens in phases. Sometimes you're able to take your opponent head on and attack, but sometimes you're in a blocking phase, or sometimes you're in a, oh, my boogers, and my nose hairs, they're very long, so they're always going to be around. Anyway, you're just discovering that this is a game. You're just now realizing that it's a game. Not necessarily like it's a game you can take seriously, but you don't have to. So whenever I play games, there's people who are competitive. And there are people who are just like, I'm just happy to be around everyone. I really only get competitive when I'm winning. Like once I've won, then I'm like, yeah, I know for a fact I'm winning, I'll talk shit. But if I don't know if I'm winning, I mean, I will talk shit, but it's just because I talk a lot. Anyway. You're going to be cooking up something pretty cool with however you're going to share your stuff. I'll put in the description here the link to my free Patreon, because I know I made that post about for people to get interviewed by me, and so we can go over stories, and then we can talk about numbers and whatever 1331 as I say this, by the way. And so y'all can go into the free chat. It's called Synchronicity Sagas. And say, hey, I want to be interviewed. We'll start the process of that and whatnot. If that's how you want to start telling your story for the first time, that's okay. Because I realize sometimes people just like this helps initiate it for some people. A lot of my clients have gone to then be interviewed by magazines and go on TV shows and really start living their life in a way that is so aware of the synchronicities. And then starting their own YouTube channels. That's really been a big calling. Or even writing music has been really, really cool to see people start writing music, start posting their videos, start doing whatever it is. Somebody started painting, and then and they hadn't painted. They hadn't painted before. Like they just decided in adulthood, you know what? I want to be an artist. And like it wasn't even just like oh, here's this like little bit of, no, like they have been like just devoted working on their skill. Hasn't posted. Hasn't posted. Just tells me about it. Just tells me about it. Sends me stuff. I'm not gonna share stuff. That's their stuff. Whenever they want to share it, because they're making a whole gallery. So whenever they're ready, they'll do it. But so I'm willing to provide those services for free, because one, it's not always free. Like, I mean, not for it's never free because I get stuff from it. I get information from it. I get knowledge from it. Helping people through their problems helps you through your problems. That's a big reason why I'm able to work through so much stuff. So many people come to me. I'm a therapist friend. It's easy for people to come to me, and I'm not really judging until they feel like I'm judging them. And maybe I'm being judgmental, but somebody's got to judge. Gavel, gavel. Anyway, but no, it's officially time. It's officially time. Like, and then springtime's almost here. Like right around the corner. So that is, you're ready, baby. All right. It's time for you to get pushed out the nest. That's my beak. I'm pushing your baby bird out the nest. The little baby bird. Get out the nest. It's time to go fly. Granted, it's not really like, I don't know what time baby birds are going to start coming out of the nest based off of seasons, but for you, you are in that season. And it's just these small things. Like, even if I want to write a book, okay, write one paragraph. Not even a paragraph, write one sentence about it. And even then, you don't have to even like type it down. Sometimes like you have a story in your head, so you need to just like record it, do voice to text, and just be like, hey, okay, this is the idea. There's this boy, and he's running up a hill, and then whenever he gets to the top of the hill, then he decides to do a cartwheel down the hill, and then he rolls down the hill and doing cartwheels, and it's so great at doing cartwheels that he starts spinning so fast that he cuts through the crust of the earth, you know, and then copy and paste that onto a Word document, go in there and add your little tidbits. Be like, okay, that's the bones, sort of. Now, I don't really like how that is. I can edit that. I can move that. I can add a little bit here. How do I want to talk about the hill? How does the hill feel? How does it, is it coming from my perspective as the author, or is it the boy's perspective? Is the boy like saying, you know what, I have a reason to cut through the earth. Why is he cutting through the earth's crust? Like, he knows he has this ability, clearly. Nobody just starts becoming a razor blade all of a sudden without knowing. Or maybe he doesn't know because he doesn't know anything about anything. About, like, he's like, who am I? I've never done a cartwheel before. And his family's like, don't you ever cartwheel. Don't you ever cartwheel. And he doesn't know why. And then one day, he's like, I'm going to do it. And then he does it. And they never told him how dangerous it could be. And all of a sudden, you have a bigger story, a bigger thing. The just getting started part. And I say just, but that's a limiting word. Getting started is one of the hardest things to do. Not everybody has that ability. Not everybody has that, like, okay, let's go. For me, getting started is a little bit easier. I have a 1 in my chart. My birthday is a 1. So I'm going to be starting stuff. Sometimes I'm starting stuff by being like, hey, you should start. Oh, you're not going to start? And several of y'all have been listening and haven't started y'all stuff yet. You haven't started posting it. But I know that if I provided a reading for you or an interview with you, and whatever that ends up entailing, then you would. So I'm literally offering my services for free. By the way, these all, like, I don't like charge a crazy amount of money for my stuff, but I do still charge. Like, for a 15-minute reading, it's usually $20. And then for I do matchmaking services, so that's like $60. Whatever ends up coming. It'll probably be about an hour or so, because people like what ends up happening is we're just talking for however long we're talking, and unfortunately I don't know where a conversation ends because we're only sitting here for this amount of time and there's so much in people's lives. So yeah, I will do that because it pays me in lots of ways. I get to know people. I like getting to know people and understanding people's stories and then helping them work through their stuff. It helps me work through my stuff. I've got hella egos too. Everybody's got hella egos. It's never gonna stop. Even whenever you are the most egoless person, you still probably have at least one giant ego who's been there all along. Um, and that's just life. Some people really feel like they can't make it through this world. Some people really feel like they can't control their impulses. Like there are people who kill people, who hurt people, who take from people. And there and it comes from this like buzzword ego. So people can't even hear it anymore. Ego, ego, ego. Oh, he's so egotistical. He's got a big ego. She's got a big ego. Nobody can even hear it anymore in the same way that people can't hear love yourself. The same way that people can't hear all the divine messages that we've been getting sent all along. But it's so mundane. It's so weaved in with everything, and there's so much noise. Every time I'm talking to people now, there's so much noise. I don't know what's going on in the news. And you can call me ignorant, and that's fine. I'm choosing to be ignorant. That's the point. It's to ignore that. Because I literally can't pay attention to the whole world. And neither can you. You're not, like, sometimes it's like, oh, let me pay attention to the whole world so I don't have to pay attention to myself. And even high vibes people still don't want to do it. Working on yourself is never going to be like the most fun thing. There are times when there are enlightening moments and it feels great. There is always growth. There's always something to be done. There's always, and so it can be like sometimes you're not feeling 22 as I'm saying. Sometimes you're not super happy about it. Sometimes you're not feeling patient. Sometimes you're not feeling thankful for the lessons that this life is teaching you. And that's part of it. Is feeling that lack of thankfulness, feeling that void of joy. 2244 as I say that. It's so then you can recognize energy and what energy is good for you and what energy is bad for you. It's figuring out what you don't like so you can figure out what you love. And then once you figure out what you don't like, you don't have those things around. And so certain type of people that may have caused certain things, you cut them out. Certain jobs that have been draining for you, you don't work in that industry anymore. You go to a new industry. You there like I have, we have people here who have gotten fired from their job because they have worked towards that goal. Not necessarily like, hey, come fire me, but like the universe is saying it's time. You didn't get fired for no reason. You didn't start hating your job for no reason. Like sometimes people love their job so much they won't leave, and so they need to get fired. And then sometimes people are so afraid of leaving that they keep staying and working there. And so, or their job is to, like, the new job is for them to quit the job. Because you give so much that you won't quit. And if you won't quit, then you will be fired. Or something. Like, depending on, confirmation, depending on what you need to do. What types of things you need to learn. Do you need to learn how to accept rejection or accept being suddenly the universe giving you a new path? Or do you need to learn how to take control of your path by saying, no more. I'm done. I'm leaving. It's whatever your path is. It's whatever your stuff is. Maybe it is, I'm staying. Because for some people it is, hey, you're quitting all the time. Maybe you need to stay someplace for a little while. It's whatever it may be according to yourself, and only yourself can answer that. So even if you end up getting an interview with me or we end up talking, then I can only tell you so much about yourself. And a lot of the things, the only reason why you're able to hear it and understand that it's true is because you already know it about yourself. That's why it resonates with you. That's why it makes sense to you. It's because you already know these things. I am just giving you additional validation. Like, and not even the universe, the signs, they're just saying, hey, remember? And you're like, oh yeah, that's me. That's a me. That's a me. T. I. E. S. Ties. I mean, that's just ties. That was very interesting. I closed my eyes, and when I closed them, there was a little, like, imprint. You know, like, I've been looking here at my face, at my phone. And so there's like a little rectangle when I close my eyes. And then it has a T, and then an I, and then it goes E, and then S. But only after I recognize the T, then it morphed to the I, then it morphed to the E, then it morphed to the S. Yeah, so definitely about probably cutting ties or something with your ties or where do you come from. Um, Ties can mean a lot of things. Maybe you should like buy more ties for business because you're about to get that promotion. Maybe you should start wearing ties to work. I don't know. Learn how to tie your tie with a different knot if you already wear ties. Maybe one that's better for your head shape. Um, there are karmic ties that are. Oh, okay. There are karmic ties that are meant to be broken. And it's like right now, like this year, a lot of that's going to be happening because like you're done. Stop it. You're done. You're done with that this year. It'll be made very clear. It's already probably been, you've been seeing signs of the stuff already. And it's like, and even whenever I'm even telling y'all guys these things about how y'all need to start a channel or whatever, it's not even starting a channel. This is you just getting around to the thing that you've been already trying to do. You've been wanting, you've been thinking on it for years. You've been like, ooh, if I would do this, I would be that. Like this is not starting something new. This is finally you getting around to the thing that you said that you were going to do a long time ago. You believed in yourself at least 8 years ago. There were times in your lives during these last 8, 9 years that you believed in yourself. Now it's time for you to actually get around to the fact that you were whole and complete even from the beginning. But since then, you have definitely learned way more for you to feel comfortable stepping into that path. And so getting around to, hey, I said in this year that I was going to do that. I said in this year I was going to do that. I said in this year that I was going to do that. I've looked around, I've planted all these seeds in my garden, and now I have to go ahead and I've waited for them to sprout. They've sprouted, they've grown, a whole bunch of them, a bunch of different plants even. It's so beautiful. I've gone in and I've taken care of them. I've given them fertilizer. I've weeded them. I've replanted them whenever they needed to be replanted, but usually they're where they need to be. I've pruned them whenever I needed to, so then they would grow nice hardy plants and fruits and vegetables just for me. And now I've already gone through and I understand the purpose of each one. I know who to plant with what. I've known that from the beginning, and I really start to see that this is how it's supposed to be. And I have so much growing. I can see what's going to happen. I can give some to not just myself, but the neighborhood. Here comes the harvest. I'm harvesting right now. Here it is. I've got all my stuff. I'm looking around my garden. Okay, I've harvested. Everything is bare. It is now fall time. It is winter. All of the green has turned brown and cracked, and it's time for a waiting period. But you know what you can do while you're waiting? You can think about what you want to do for your garden next year. You can even start taking out, like, you know what? I know for a fact there were things in this garden that I did not like because I planted this next to that, and that messed up everything. Those things brought the bugs for that, and I lost my whole crop of cucumbers because it was next to my tomatoes. And so let me move those tomatoes. I'm going to move the tomatoes next to a different plant that makes sense for the tomatoes. I don't know, beans or something. And so the next year, whenever I start this new journey, because I will still continue doing this growth, I will still continue doing that food stuff because I liked doing it. But I want to make sure that I have more cucumbers because I was really excited about those cucumbers. So now you'll get around to putting it where it was supposed to. Because on that first journey, you did a little bit of research as to which plants to pair with what, but you didn't really care that much. And then you saw, okay, maybe I'll do that a little bit different now. It's still the same journey, 3131, as I say that. You're still learning the same thing. You still have your life path number, and a lot of it is going to be lessons in that and lessons in that and lessons in that. Like we're starting in 101 and then we go 102 and then on and on. But this is your leg of the journey. What? This is your leg of the journey? Okay, y'all. I think this is your leg of the journey. Like handing off a baton. We're a team. And it's like, I almost see like yourself again and again. Like you're handing your baton to yourself again and again. But you're a different self each time. Like you're, I don't know, a bigger self, a brighter self. You want good people in the back, but you definitely want one of your best in the front whenever you're in a relay race. Because like if everybody like just crashes out in the back, but you got your fastest at the end, you have a chance. I'm pretty sure that would be the technique. But I'm not a coach. Don't catch me lying to you. Maybe you want the fastest in the back so then you can hurry up and then the slowest can just kind of leisurely go up there. But right now you were at the point where you were running or you were handing off or you are resting, you are whatever it is that it is specific to you. It is specific to you. And it's like that's what the assignment is right now. Is for you to now fully look into yourself and find the answer within yourself. If you're seeing me, you're most likely seeing a lot of other videos that are like this too, that are like, hey guys, this is what's going on. Here's a message for you or whatever. You're going to stop watching them. You'll probably stop watching me after a little while. Sometimes people just come in, see me one time, get the thing, and they never come back. That's kind of the point sometimes. Some people are meant to hear lots of things from me because we're in a closer collective, and that's cool too. Like and even whenever we're in a closer collective, even me and my best friend, like we'll see each other a lot, and then we'll just go in phases where we won't see each other. Like it's just how it works. Sometimes we're together, sometimes we got to be apart. That's just how it is. Because it's like casting a wide net, and that's what this collective does. Is it casts a very wide net. We all have our own individual networks as people that we can start sharing with, like human to human connection, but then we all have our own additional followers. That like if you have any type of internet presence, like your social media, the people on your Facebook pages, we tend to have a little bit more people on those pages than in real life that we see. And so we've got people all over with this collective. And yet we are still close in the collective, even though we are far apart in the world. And so whenever we see each other, whenever we meet and talk, a lot of times it's going to be like, oh yeah, I already like kind of like have some type of familiarity with you. Um, because we kind of have a lot of the same views on things. And that's pretty much everyone here. We have a lot of the same views on the esoteric or the where are we at right now in our lives. Confirmation burn. Anyway, y'all, I got stuff to do today. I'm gonna go shower. 35:35 as I say this. And in the meantime, lovies, y'all keep a lookout for the numbers and stay synchronized.